My name is Ian Shepard, and I take care of the CRM 360 and online appointment features inside of the software. Instead of doing a webinar today, I've decided just to record a video about the online appointment feature to go through the setup and the full walkthrough so that you understand how to go through the setup and what happens at the customer level as well as what you need to do inside the software. So I'm just going to get into it, a simple recording here. So let's start with going into setup from home. Let's click on setup. We're going to start with some of the setup features. The first thing that we want to make sure that we have is a message group so that those that are part of that message group can receive a notification through the message center inside of Protractor. So I'm going to just type in message, and you'll see here there's this message groups. When I click here, I've already created one called online appointment. So when I double click on this, within this message group, we'll click over to the tab that says group members. And within this screen, this is where you will select the staff members that you want to receive a notification when there's an online appointment request. Okay, so I'm not going to do anything here because this is just a test database, but just to kind of give you an idea, you can click as many people on this list so that they receive a notification when there is an online appointment request. So that is the first step that you want to take. If you don't have one already created called online appointment, of course you can use any one that is existing. So in this case, there's one here called staff. Maybe you have service advisors, whatever makes sense. But in order to create one, all you would do is you would click on add, name it, so you can call it online appointment or whatever you want to call it, and then click on the group members and then add from there. So that's the first step. So the second step we want to take is making sure that your booking hours are set correctly. So under setup, again, we're going to type in online appointment. And you're going to see there's under online appointment here, you'll see booking hours. So we're going to click here, and then you're going to be presented with the booking hours available for your customer in terms of the available time slots that they have to book appointments online. Okay, so right now, this is set from Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. So this would imply that this shop, if this was a real shop, was open between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. because the 5 p.m. is inclusive of that last booking hour. So let me give you an example of perhaps how you may want to edit this depending on your scenario. So if I go here on Monday, so let's say during the day between 12 and 1, you don't want to take appointments because the entire shop takes a lunch. Okay, so let's double click here and you'll be presented with these hours just down below here. So first we're going to start by double clicking on the first one. We're going to say 8 a.m. and we're going to end it at 11 a.m. because that's the last booking hour. When I click OK, you'll see 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. And now what we want to do is we want to click on action, click add. So now we're going to set the second part of the day. So let's say that is starting at 1 p.m. and perhaps you only want to go to 3 p.m. and then you click OK. And then when I click OK again, you'll see that you'll have two separate time slots separated by a comma. So this basically means that you can book from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. inclusive of that hour, and then starting again at 1 p.m. until 3 p.m. inclusive of that hour. So I'll leave this alone. The idea is you want to set that for your hours specifically, whatever makes sense. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to hop into settings, again under online appointment. I'm going to walk you through some of the setup portions here first, and then we'll go into a full walkthrough. So first, you can name your online appointment intake form title. I typically write online appointment request, keeps it simple. Now, when you're watching this video, likely I would have already configured this for you, or most of it. However, if it has not been done yet, then it'll be done at some point. But sometimes you'll put a logo in here. A lot of times what I'm doing is I'm creating a logo for the shop that includes information like this that seems to be important. So for example, here's the shop logo. Then please note your service appointment is not guaranteed until you receive a confirmation email. And then also further, it says, if you don't see your preferred appointment date and time, please call the shop number. So this is giving the customer the idea that when they put the request in, is it's not necessarily guaranteed until they get a confirmation email first. And then also, if they don't see a date and time that is convenient for them to call the shop, perhaps you can accommodate. Okay, so that's the first section here. Further down here, there's a couple of checkboxes. The first one says show company name field. Right now, this is checked. This is an optional field on the intake form so that the customer can enter a company name. Let's say they're part of a fleet that you service. Okay. Second, we've got allow bookings for today. Right now, this is unchecked. This essentially means that only the next business day is available to your customer. So if they're going into the form today, they would only see tomorrow or your next business day. Okay, or of course, if you want to allow bookings for the same day, you can check this box. Further down, you've got appointment booking interval. You have two options of 30 minutes and 60 minutes. I usually recommend 60 minutes. It just seems to be clean. It seems to work better that way. However, that's sort of my look at it and my preference. It doesn't have to be yours. So if 30 minutes makes sense for you, you can certainly set it that way. Now we go into three intervals here. So the first one is maximum online appointments per interval. So that's per 60 minutes. It's currently set to 2. Then we've got maximum total appointments per interval, currently set to 3. And then maximum online appointments per day, currently set to 10. So what does this mean? Let's say, for example, you have 2 appointments already booked at 10 a.m. Based on having a total of 3 appointments for that day, it would only allow for 1 additional online appointment because you would have reached your maximum of 3 and then a maximum of 2 for the online booking. Same with the 10 per day total for online. Once there's been 10 appointments booked online, it will no longer make any more available for that day, even if you have availability. So again, all of these intervals here are going to be unique for your shop, so you'll have to figure out what makes the most sense for you. Okay, jumping into what we call here service packages, let me just click on edit here. So in order to communicate with the shop, so for the customer to communicate information to the shop, that has to happen through either a service package or an inspection. So if you look at this screen here, if I were to add, let's say, a service package to the intake form, you'll see what will happen and what they will see. So under action here, let me click on add. I'm going to add a service package. So let's say you want to have an oil change listed as a selectable item. So if I click search and I'll just choose the first one here, I'll click OK. You'll notice that the service package title says maintenance general service. Now, if I were to change that, let's say this was an oil change, I could say I need an oil change. And essentially, this is what the customer will see on the intake form. Now, I'm only going to save this one for now, just so you can see it on the intake form when we do it. But what I'm going to bring up here on the other screen here, just give me 1 second. I'm going to bring up an example of what some other shops are doing, and I'll include this as a downloadable item as part of the email that you receive. So just give me 1 second here. Okay, so you should be able to see this here. So ultimately, this is what you want to do. This is an example of what some other shops are doing. Whether you're creating unique service packages for the purpose of the online appointment or you're using existing service packages is entirely up to you. Just keep in mind, whatever you're entering here, when you convert the request to an appointment, and then once you convert the appointment to a work order, all of these items get brought forward onto the work order, so it saves you time. So you can use these however way you like. You'll notice that how this particular shop used it, they ended up presenting these options to the customer. Okay, so as you can see, they created a service package called I need an oil change. The display name says I need of here. Okay. Further from that, let's say, for example, you need to know additional information. Let's say you need to know if the customer is dropping off the vehicle, if they want to wait for their vehicle. Let's say you offer shuttle service, or if you offer loaner vehicles. Any of that information that you want from the customer needs to be created as a service package and then added to this list under service packages here in order for it to be a selectable item on the intake form. Okay, so I will include this document as an example if you want to use that as a guide, but again, it's entirely up to you how you want to use this. Okay, so further from there, I've likely already created these templates for you. They're unique to your shop. I will walk you through those in a minute. We've got this notification message group, which we talked about earlier. It's currently set to online appointment, which is the one that was created. Okay, so this is the group that will receive a notification through the message system down here that will indicate that there is a request. Okay, we've got the sender email address. So this is typically the email address that you want to send any of these templates from. Okay, right now I just have this generic email in here just for the test. We've got send reminder email set to 2 days ahead. Now keep in mind, this is the appointment reminder. This is the last template on the list that is sent out. It says 2 days ahead, but let me just explain what this means. So the data is generated 2 days ahead of the appointment, but we hold that email until the next day and they receive it between 12 noon and 4 p.m. Eastern. And the reason for that is we used to send email between 11 p.m. and 4 a.m., but with those people, most people are keeping their phones next to their bed at night. We don't want to send emails during that time. So instead, the data is generated 2 days ahead, but the customer actually gets that appointment reminder the day before. Okay, now this is a very bare bones solution, meaning that it's a basic intake form, which you're going to see in a minute. There is an advanced settings section here. If I click on edit, you'll see that there's some language in here that says that you can add scripts and styling code to the header of the page to add some customization to your page. Now keep in mind, Protractor does not support this part of the page or part of the service, and it's completely the shop's responsibility to manage this section and to ensure its security. Okay, so just know if you have a developer or someone who can take care of this, who understands this technology, they can certainly add in their code here, but it is solely the responsibility of the shop to make sure that it is utilized correctly. Okay, so that's been made available there. From there, I'm going to just jump right into it. So let me just copy this address and I'm going to go into to a browser here and paste the form. So let's just bring this over here. So let me know, yeah, you should be able to see that there. So let's just pretend that this is a customer. So I'm a customer. Let me just enter my information. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to skip my contact details just to show something as we go along here. So let's just type in something here and 2011. Okay. And let me type in test. And when I click select a date, you'll see that I get an error. Please provide a phone number or an email address to contact you. And the reason for that is I get often questions, how come we can't force, let's say, the collection of a cell phone or an email address? Well, due to the Privacy Act, we can't demand one type of contact, but we can ask for at least one in order to get a date. So I can enter my information here, and I'm going to actually enter my actual details. And let's enter my email address here. And I'm going to select a date. And let's choose the 30th of April. And I'm going to choose 4 p.m. And I'm going to click on request appointment. Okay, so the first thing that the customer sees is this notification or acknowledgement within the browser. So it says here are the details of your request. Please note your service appointment is not guaranteed until confirmed by our service advisor. Thank you for using our online system. It provides all of the details, but from within this screen, let's say me as the customer, I'm looking at scheduled time and I see Friday, and I say, oops, I meant to actually select Thursday. I can click edit appointment, and then everything that I previously entered, including any services that I may have selected, is repopulated here for me. I don't have to retype any of the information, and then I can simply select a date again. Okay, I'm not going to do that for this example, but just know that I can certainly do that if I need to. Okay, so in the background, what's happened, let me just go over to my email here. I've actually already received a notification or an acknowledgement. So it's really a duplicate of the browser version. Again, here are the details of your request. Please note your service appointment is not guaranteed until confirmed by our service advisor. I'm presented with the details of my request. And if I want, again, I can make changes. It's all built in. Okay. So now here's what's happened in the software for the shop owner. Okay, if you were part of the online appointment notification message group, then you would have likely received a pop-up here. Now, let me just bring this up here. I don't see it here because I'm not part of that message group, but this is essentially where that request will come in. You can click on it. It'll bring you over to the work in progress screen where that record is sitting. Whether you see it here or perhaps it's in the top right, bottom right, depending on how you have your message center configured, but essentially it's a quick way to receive a notification. So let me just show you where this is actually sitting in the software. So if you click on the Home tab and then click on Work Orders, you'll see Work in Progress. There is a temporary folder called Pending Appointments. And this stays here. If this is actually collapsed, you'll actually see that it shows the number of requests that are sitting in there. Okay, so if I just open this up, the only thing that really matters is opening up this record at this point. So let me double click on this. It'll pop up. You'll notice that this record is no different than any other record sitting on this screen. What's unique, however, it does identify as an online appointment, and by default, it is not confirmed. Okay, so if you're looking at this screen and you're looking at my contact information here, and let's say for whatever reason you don't service a Kia Sorento. So you're wondering, okay, well, how do I get in touch with this customer? I've never dealt with this customer before. I need to get in touch with them. So if you click on the binoculars, let me just bring this up. It's just opening up another screen. You'll see that all of the information that I provided sits here on the bottom left. If I was an existing customer, I'd likely be listed here on the right-hand side, and I'd have the ability to link the two. Or as a brand new customer from within this screen, I can click on Add Contact, and I'm also presented with the option to create a new contact record with the information that was provided. Okay, so we don't need to do any of these steps right now. I'm just showing you that these are available. Also, when the customer is in front of you on the day of the appointment, you can convert this to a work order, and any services that were selected on that request will be brought forward. So that just saves you some time. But the only thing that's required in this case is, let's say you can accommodate my request, everything is good. You look at the date and time, yes, this works. So the only thing that matters is checking this box, this appointment is confirmed, and clicking OK. And as soon as I do that, you'll notice that the pending appointment folder goes away, and now I'm sitting here at the bottom under future work right down here. Okay, so let's just go into my inbox again. Just give me 1 second and let me bring that up. There we go. Okay, so here is the appointment confirmation email that I just received. So since the shop, we just confirmed it as a shop, me now as a customer, it says here, your appointment has been confirmed. Here are the details. We look forward to seeing you. Again, I still have the ability to make changes if I want to. I can update the appointment from here. I'll be presented with an option to change the date as well. Okay. So now that's all I can show you live. Let me just show you the rest of it in software. So there's a couple of other templates that we need to look at. The next one is this reminder email, which is the appointment reminder. This actually is generated 2 days ahead, and then the day before, so I had selected the 30th. So on the 29th of April, I would receive an email that basically looks like this. Again, very similar, just a reminder, here are the details of your service appointment, and I'm presented with all the details, but now I'm given two options as the customer. I can either confirm my appointment or I can reschedule, okay? So rescheduling is the same thing that you saw in all of the previous emails and notifications on the browser. I have the ability to reschedule right from within the email, okay? But we're presented, as the customer, we're presented with another option called confirm. So if I click on this confirm button, a new page pops up and the customer has the ability to then confirm that appointment. Now, I would say 99% of the time, the shop, you as the shop owner, would have probably already confirmed this appointment. And so therefore, this really doesn't do anything other than provide peace of mind to the customer. Okay, so if you've confirmed it, and that's typically what you're supposed to do, customer clicks confirm, nothing really changes in the software, it just, customer realizes that they've hit confirm. Now, there is a 1% chance that this may pose a problem, but we don't see this happen very often. But let's say, for example, a customer books an appointment at 11:30 p.m. on a Friday, And let's say you're not open until Monday morning at 8 a.m. Well, on Saturday, if they've booked that online, they're going to get this email. Now, likely because you're not in the shop, you haven't had an opportunity to confirm that for the customer. So when they click on confirm here, they're in fact confirming their own appointment. So that's a rare occurrence, but just know that that is a possibility. So there's a possibility that that could happen. But for the most part, it's just their peace of mind for the customer, just so that they realize that they're confirming their own appointment. Okay, so that's about it with that. And there's one other message in here called error page. So I do know that some shops that I work with, when they have appointments for the day, whether they're in the morning or the afternoon, a lot of times what happens is all of the appointments that are booked early, they actually convert them to work orders so that they're ready for when the customer comes in. Okay. So in doing so, the minute you convert an appointment into a work order, that appointment can no longer be changed. So for example, we've got this error page here. If I click on edit just to preview it, within the browser, if a customer tries to reschedule an appointment that's already been converted to a work order, they're going to get this message. Oops, there was a problem with your request. Please contact us directly to book or reschedule your service appointment. Here's the phone number. Here's our email address. We look forward to seeing you. So it's just letting the customer know that whatever they attempted to do with that rescheduling did not happen, and you're asking them to call or email you. Okay. This could also happen. For example, if you've ever been on a website, let's say you're filling out a form, and let's say you get distracted, you kind of go away for 30 minutes and then you come back and you finish the form, you hit submit. A lot of times you'll get like an error or a timeout or something to that effect. Well, this too will also pop up if that happens. Of course, the availability on the scheduler is constantly refreshing. So if it goes beyond that time that it's refreshed, then this error could pop up. Ultimately, this is just designed to make sure that your customer is aware that that communication did not happen in that instance. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. So the last thing I wanted to cover is keep in mind that when we're looking at the scheduler, it's looking at every 60 minutes, it's allowing for 2 online appointments with a total of 3 total appointments, including appointments booked in software, and a total of 10 per day. Okay. Now, because not every shop uses the scheduler the same way, the challenge is how do we allow customers, or how do we allow the shop to make exceptions? Let's say they know for sure that they're fully booked. How can we block off time if there's still time slots available? So if I go over to the scheduler here, we'll look at, let's see what comes up. Well, this is a demo database, so there's not a lot of information. But right now, if we look at Friday, it says that there's 18 hours available. Well, the online appointment feature does not look at the available hours because not every shop uses the scheduler this way. Instead, it looks at each individual booking interval. So in this case, 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m. And then in the case of what we use as an example, we skipped 12 to 1. Then it would go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that being said, each one of these time slots would have 2 online appointments available and a total of 3 appointments. Okay, so let's say, for example, you had 20 appointments booked at 8 a.m. for drop-offs. Well, likely, I don't know for sure, but likely that's a pretty full day. And if that is a full day, you still have 9, 10, 11, 1, 2, 3 still available. So additional appointments would be allowed in the scheduler. But perhaps you're booked for the day. So what you want to do is you want to go into what they call the schedule overview and make what they call an exception. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to click on the home tab. We're going to click on setup again. And then under setup, I'm going to type in scheduler. Okay, and as you can see, scheduler comes up. We've got the holidays, we've got shop hours, and then we've got schedule overview. So when I click on schedule overview, you'll see that I'm presented with the calendar. So let's say, for example, this upcoming Friday, you know that you're booked solid, you can't possibly take any more online appointments. Well, you can click on the 16th, go down to action, click add. Now you can either choose a time range, or you can say that you're fully booked and type in a note, no more appointments. In doing so, it blocks off that day. Now, let's say a customer calls you and like to book an appointment for Friday the 16th. Well, whenever you try to book in software, it'll actually prompt you to say that it says that you're fully booked. However, because you're in software, you have the ability to override. However, there will not be any availability on Friday online. Okay, so a lot of times where I see people using this, how shops are using this is, let's say, for example, it's 5 p.m. Let's say today it's 5 p.m. on the 12th of April when I'm recording this, and you're looking at your next day and you know that you couldn't possibly take any more appointments for the next day. Well, at the end of the day of the current day, they're going to the next day and they're saying that they're fully booked. But if you're not fully booked, you can leave it open and allow for additional appointments overnight to fill up your day. Okay, so hopefully that helps. This allows you to utilize this and to manage your schedule for those that are starting to use the online appointment function. So the last step in this process is to get the online appointment intake form published to your website. So how you do this is you come into your software under online appointment, under settings. You'll see a button at the very bottom that says copy address. So this is your unique online appointment intake form link. You'll want to send this link over to your web developer. Ask that they create an appointment button on your website, whether it says make an appointment, book online, whatever makes sense. Have it link out to your unique form, and then have it open in a new tab in the browser. Okay. We also discourage the use of iframe as it's been deprecated. It rarely works, I think, on one browser, so I'm going to highly discourage the use of this. Just have it work off of the button, open that page in a new tab on the browser, and you'll be good to go. Okay, if you have any questions about this or anything that I've covered during this recording, please reach out to support at protractor.com. Thanks so much. Have a great day.